Hello, my name is Doug Swenson, President of DBSI. Today is Thursday, October 16, 2008. Unfortunately, it will not be possible to provide all of the detail today that each of you is seeking for your specific investment. As you know, DBSI is experiencing financial difficulties. There are really several things that have drastically impacted our business. First, we recently experienced a dramatic decrease in new business. Second, we have seen an erosion of several properties in our portfolio related to increased vacancies and tenant defaults. Third, we recently learned that a certain SEC exemption for real estate agents, widely expected since last fall, and which we expected to expand our sales channels, has been indefinitely deferred. We were concerned that the reduction in sales would continue over the short term, if not longer. Without the gross margin from those sales, we knew we would be challenged to meet our financial obligations, which includes our debt obligations, and our ability to supplement any of the shortfalls from the overall master lease portfolio. All of this taken in total necessitated that we cut a lot of the distributions on our master lease portfolio and our debt obligations. Legal counsel has advised us that under the circumstances, we must separate our master lease tenant and common properties into one of three categories. A, those whose property is producing enough cash flow to pay debt service and full rent. These investors will experience no immediate change in their status. B, those whose property is producing enough cash flow to pay debt service but not to pay full rent. For these investors, they will not receive their current rent payment, but debt service on the loan on their property will continue to be paid. At some point, when we are assured that there are adequate resources to protect and preserve the property and continue to pay the debt service, we expect to resume at least partial rent payments. And C, those whose property does not produce enough cash flow to pay rent or the entire amount of the monthly debt service. If you fall into this category, you have already received information in order to access a special recorded announcement that will be available Friday, October 17. I want to stress that it is important to remain calm. Calls to regulatory agencies and lenders will not result in our being able to do more than we are already doing in this situation, and may actually put your investment at greater risk by distracting us and forcing us to put out fires and calm lender and regulatory nerves rather than focusing on broader solutions. Please remember that at the end of the day, you own the underlying real estate. For those of you who are involved in properties where we are unable to pay full rent, we caution you against taking precipitous action. Even if we are in default of our master lease rent obligations, in most cases you are prohibited from voting to terminate the master lease without lender consent. If you do vote to terminate the master lease, under the non-recourse carve-out guarantees, you may become personally liable for the debt. This does not mean that you are locked into leaving the master lease in place permanently, whether we are performing or not, but it does mean that you should remain patient and not take actions that may have unintended consequences. Going forward, as advised by legal counsel, all properties not making a full master lease payment will be operated on a standalone, segregated cash basis. Some of you, individually or in groups, may decide to retain your own legal counsel to protect your interest. We encourage you to do this, but also encourage you to work with us to seek constructive, not destructive, solutions. Please feel free to put your counsel directly in touch with our counsel, Stephen Burr at Foley & Lardner. Initial contact should be by email to sburr@foley.com. Mr. Burr will respond only to emails from legal counsel representing investors. He will not respond to inquiries from investors or to phone messages. That address again is sburr@foley, that's FOLEY.com. It is with a heavy heart that I have to even conduct this conference call.